Good evening, folks. I know it's been so many days since you've seen each other, but we need to get started. I see there's still a few people out in the hallway, but if you can find a seat and get ready for the second session of this year's town meeting. All right. I would like to ask any veterans of the armed forces and any folks that are on active duty to please rise or raise their hand. Be recognized. Good. Well, now, everybody, please rise. Please join our veterans and active duty for the pledge of allegiance led by King Tom, Belmont High School senior and president of the Canterbury Rascals.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dave. 4-H is alive, well, and run by youth officers and adult volunteers right here in Canterbury. I'd like us to take a few moments of silence to honor the many thousands of civilians who have lost their lives this past year in Ukraine and in Gaza. Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize the Select Board Chair, Cheryl Gordon, who has some brief comments about the dedication for this year's annual report in honor of Stout.
Yes, 26 years ago, there was a young lady who came in the office and said, "You have to hire me." And she started out in my office as a file clerk. And moving along, she ended up in the selectman's office. And that was history. She became the administrative assistant. And I'd like to thank her for all her years of service. Happy retirement.
Thank you, Chair. Next, a few words from Scott Doherty to honor Police Chief Michael Labrecque.
Good evening, folks. Chief Labrecque, if you would rise, please. I see you behind the speaker. This is my final chance to embarrass you, so I'm not going to waste it. So tonight we say farewell to Police Chief Michael Labrecque. Mike is leaving us after a 30-year career in law enforcement, including 7.5 years as chief of the Canterbury Police Department. Chief Labrecque is leaving law enforcement and New Hampshire for a much warmer climate. He's done a great job in Canterbury. He's leaving big shoes to fill. We wish him a long, healthy, and happy retirement. Chief, goodbye. Thank you for your service to the town of Canterbury.
there's more. Next, Ken Brustwick has a tribute to David Nelson on his retirement.
Dave, are you here?
Nope.
It's in the back. We'd like to thank Lieutenant Dave Nelson of the Canterbury Fire Department for his 24 years of service to the town. Dave is retiring from full-time service at the end of this month. He has worked under 4 different chiefs and has worn many hats in his 24 years of service. We would like to acknowledge his tireless commitment and efforts, and we thank him for all that he has done for the town. We wish him the best in his retirement. Congratulations, Dave.
Well, finally, what you've all been anticipating, Ken Folsom will lead us in honoring Cheryl Gordon for her many years of service to the town.
Fine time to leave us, Lucille.
So, as everybody knows, Cheryl was the town clerk here from 1980 to 2011. And then she apparently was bored and decided to jump right into the ring as selectman. And she served since 2011. I think Cheryl's getting ready to retire now, spend a little more time with Gil, their dog Toby, and travel up to Eastport, Maine to spend some time at the camp. So Cheryl, on behalf of the town, we wish you good luck and thank you very much. And we have a little token of our appreciation here.
All right. This is just a double check. Hopefully everyone is all set. If you're a registered voter, you will have picked up your yes/no card. If you're not a registered voter in Canterbury, could you raise your hand? You'll get there. You'll get there. Stick with it. It's a good thing. All right, there are extra town reports in the back, in case you didn't grab one. Fire exits. There's an exit right back there at the end of the, this end of the hallway behind those doors, and one on each side of the gym. If this is your first Canterbury town meeting, could you raise your hands? Welcome. All right, so you, at least some of you got here early, had the fortune to check out some of the displays in the back of the room. We have folks from the Canterbury Community Farmers Market, Friends of the Elkins Public Library, the Energy Committee, Canterbury Community Power, and Canterbury Shaker Village's Executive Director Search, which I've been asked to mention that if you have not filled out a survey yet, which was in the town email and perhaps the newsletter, they want to get input from the town, the folks that are looking for a new executive director for the village. So in the back, there is a QR code you can scan, and Rachel would particularly like your feedback. Before we move into the business portion of the meeting, I want to go over some housekeeping items. First, I'd like to express my gratitude to our Tuesday election team, Assistant Town Moderator Kathy Doherty, who will be bringing the mic to anyone who is mobility challenged and sort of stuck in their seat. Everyone else can approach the mic in the center of the room. Our select board, Police escorts, Sam Papps, town clerk. Our, John O'Connor and his staff for setting up. Ballot clerks and counters, Mary Hoffman, Cal McKay, BJ Entwistle, Ellen Bassett, Ray Craigie, Ray Chesley, Kelly Papps, Bob Steenson came back, Steve Raish, and Beth McWinn. So I want to thank those folks. Last but not least, the people that you know and love and who love to know your name and where you live. The supervisors of the checklist, Brenda Murray, Denise Soika, and Pam Smarlin. Thanks to all of you who voted on Tuesday. This is what it's all about, having a democracy. Really important. Now I'll do what I could have done first, and maybe next year I'll remember to introduce the folks on the platform. So we have Town Administrator Ken Folsom on the end. We have the Select Board, Cheryl Gordon, Kent Ruswig, Scott Doherty, and Sam Papps, Town Clerk and Tax Collector, who will be taking the minutes. Without objection, I am granting the right of voice without vote to some specific non-residents. That would be Ken Folsom, Michael Labrecque, and John O'Connor, in case things come up that they need to comment on or provide information for. Is there any objection to that? Okay. And Edgar Rivera will be recording the meeting tonight. Thanks, Edgar, for providing this invaluable service to the community. Speaking. Practice respect and civility at all times. It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be disagreeable or disrespectful. Before speaking, please raise your hand and be recognized by me, the moderator. Wait for the microphone to come to you if you're mobility challenged, or if you're in line behind the microphone, wait till it's your turn. The first time you are recognized to speak, please state your name and where you live in town. Address all comments to me, the moderator. If you're asking a question, you may follow up to clarify. As moderator, I will recognize those who have not yet spoken to an issue before anyone who has spoken previously to that issue. Again, we want to be fair to as many people as possible. Canterbury residents only may speak unless granted voice without vote. Please add to previous comments, but do not just repeat what has been said before, as enthusiastic as you might be about a particular warrant article. If you wish to call the question, you must raise your hand and be recognized first. Calling the question before people have had an opportunity to present the essentials of a warrant article, or before people have had at least some opportunity to ask questions or speak to the issue, is in direct opposition to the point of town meeting, which is for townspeople to make informed decisions on behalf of the entire community. That said, you have the right to call the question. Calling the question motions must be seconded and passed by a 2/3 majority vote. Motions. We follow simplified rules of order. Motions must be moved and seconded. Again, state your name and where you live clearly so that Sam can capture it for the minutes. And the mover will have the first right to speak after the presenter of each warrant article is finished introducing it. All amendments must be given to the town clerk in writing. And make it readable, please, before we vote. One motion or amendment at a time. Any amendments involving money must include a dollar amount. These rules may be altered by the assembled town meeting voters, that would be you, by a majority vote. If you believe that I, the moderator, have erred in terms of procedure, which is quite possible, you may request a point of order and the meeting will decide. Again, a majority vote is required to overrule the moderator. Any questions? Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's begin with the results of Tuesday's voting, especially for those of you who have not seen them posted. The results of the Shaker Regional School voting, Belmont Board, Jeff Roberts with 1,012 votes. The Canterbury Board member, Michelle Lewis, 612 votes over Jessica Treadway, 327. Article 2, School District Budget, passed 727 to 531. Article 3, Facilities and Grounds Expendable Trust, passed 860 to 403. Article 4, Technology Expendable Trust, passed 891 to 377. And Article 5, Food Service Equipment Expendable Trust, passed 932 to 337. Canterbury's warrant. Article 1, to choose all necessary town officers for the year ensuing. I would like to thank all of you who ran for elected office, and if you would not mind standing. Oh, don't be shy. Others who are not here. But regardless of the outcome, you are to be congratulated for stepping up and being considered, and for wanting to help your town. The more people get involved, the stronger our community becomes. And we're going to need more help next year. Lois Scribner has a table right straight back with sign-up sheets for citizens who are interested in serving as volunteers or alternates on commissions, committees, and boards in the meantime. So 543 votes were cast in town on Tuesday, including 36 absentee. The results for Selectman Calvin Todd, sorry, I'm going to watch my comments here. Calvin Todd, 200 votes. Beth Blair, 332. For Planning Board, Nate Bragdon, 49 votes. Tom Franco, 64. Greg Mead, 382 votes. Brendan O'Donnell, 170. Megan Portnoy, 236 votes. And Jonas Sanborn, 89 votes. For Cemetery Trustee, Jan Cody, 492 votes. Supervisor of the Checklist, Denise Soik, 482 votes. Library Trustee, Rick Crockford, 419 votes. Debbie Snow, 438. Flo Woods, 404. Trustee of the Trust Funds, Sylvia Stiles, 448 votes. Tom Franco, 52 votes. Article 2 passed, 422 yes votes to 101 noes. Article 3, 404 yes, 127 noes. Article 4, 445 yeses to 88 noes. Article 5, 409 yeses to 112 noes. Article 6, 428 yeses to 97 noes. Article 7, 463 yeses to 65 noes. Article 8, 394 yeses to 113 noes. Article 9, 505 yeses to 26 noes. Article 10, 483 yeses to 43 noes. And Article 11, 441 yeses to 80 noes. I want to ask those that won their spots in the town elections to come up to the platform when the meeting is over to be sworn in. And we're looking for Kelly and Ben Stonebreaker and Nicole Glines. If you're here, you need to do oaths of office for your positions on the committee you're on. So that's at the end of the meeting. Before we start Article 12, without objection, I'm changing the order of business to address Article 15 right after Article 12. Are there any objections? Okay. Article 12. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,405 for the first year's payment towards a new backhoe. This payment is for a long-term lease purchase agreement in the amount of $197,950, payable over a term of 7 years. Furthermore, to offset the lease agreement amount using $40,000 from the capital reserve account created for this purpose, as the selectmen are agents to expend and to trade in the current backhoe for $12,000. This lease contains an escape clause. Majority vote is required. It's recommended by the selectmen, and I need a motion. Can you state your name? Okay, Beth McQuinn. And a second? Bob Scarponi, thank you. And now Ken Ruswick will speak to this.
So, this is a
And
little...
by the way, a note for everybody, just about eat the microphone. Come as close to greeting it after 20 years as you can.
So this is a little complicated because we have an escape clause in that contract that we're going to be signing with these folks. So we're going to come back to you each year and ask you to do this again. So I'm going to read through the different pieces of this. The DRA forced us to change the language of this article. Unfortunately now it is much harder to understand. The DRA is also forcing us to vote on each individual payment for this for the next 7 years. This is because the lease has an escape clause. The Highway Department's last current backhoe broke in July 2023. And if you want to see that, you can go to the Selectmen's minutes on 7/26/23 for details. They have been renting an excavator since then. The contract is with CAP. We're hoping that using CAP instead of using another contractor will give us a better piece of equipment. So both the things we're asking you to vote on tonight are CAT equipment, Caterpillar. A new one has a 20-year life expectancy. The capital reserve account for highway backhoe started in 2020, has had $10,000 put into it every year since 2020, 14, 2021, 9, 2022, 13, and 2023, 4. At the end of 2023, it had $42,218.47 in the account. We are not putting more money into the account this year. The backhoe cost $209,950. CAT will reduce the amount to $197,950 if we trade in the old backhoe for $12,000. The principal and interest payments each year is $26,405. The interest is 5.49%, which over 7 years will amount to $184,835. $40,000 will be taken from the capital reserve fund to put towards the payment. This means the first year is entirely covered by the capital reserve fund. The second year will be partially covered by the capital reserve fund. What happens if we vote no? The highway department will not be able to use the backhoe in the lease with CAT, but they will still need a backhoe, so they'll be renting one short-term at a higher rate. Is this a lease or a purchase? This is a lease to own. If the town owns the backhoe for 7 years, we get to keep it. What happens if we vote no at a later year before year 7 are up? The highway department will have to return the backhoe, the town will not get money back, and the town will no longer have the option of owning the backhoe. Did we try fixing the old one? Yes, we did. I don't want to disparage the case, but this machine has not lasted as long as it should, so we're hoping a better piece of a better grade will help us get a longer life out of it.
Are there any comments or questions? If you have them, please approach the mic. Seeing none, I will ask for a vote with your yes/no cards. All those in favor, please raise your green card. Those opposed, red card. The warrant passes. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $118,000 to be deposited into the following capital reserves. Highway equipment, $10,000. Highway truck, $30,000. Highway grader, $30,000. Rescue truck, $12,000. Landfill closure, $1,000. Maintenance and repair of town buildings, $5,000. And highway loader, $30,000. Majority vote is required. It's recommended by the selectmen, and Scott Doherty will address this one.
So this is,
First, I needed a motion. State your name.
Jacob Mason.
Okay, thank you. And a second?
So moved.
Okay, Cliff, thank you.
Clifton Massey.
so this has been our usual practice for many years now, and the idea is it saves us from huge spikes in our taxes each year. So we've steadily been saving, and this is just a continuation of that. One thing worth noting is the 4915.5, the highway grader, assuming that's approved tonight in a little bit, we'll discontinue savings for several years for that. So that would be something coming off for next year's vote. That's really all I had.
All right, any comments or questions? You just want to get through these hundreds of articles. Okay, well, we will take a vote. All those in favor, raise your green cards. Oh, sorry, Mr. Crockford.
Hi, Rick Crockford, Ayers Road. Can I ask why, so how long is this excavator going to last?
The expected life was 15 to 20 years.
Okay, so, because I think it's probably short-sighted not to put, say, $5,000 into a capital reserve specified for that excavator. Because it's going to die at some point.
It will. So typically what we do is we don't start off putting money into capital reserves until we're partway through the purchase. It's going to affect the amount that we ask you to come up with in later years, but that's been the practice of it.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry about that. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll go back to, yes? State your name, please. Oh, yes, go right there.
Patrice Rasha, Center Road. So elsewhere in the town report, it talks about.
Right up to the mic.
It talked about how we spent $11,000 on repairs on the packer truck at the transfer station. Do we have a reserve fund for that?
It has a maintenance line item. It has a maintenance line item in the budget.
Yeah, and I did notice that because it was a $5,000 maintenance line item this year, and it's $5,000 next year, but we spent $11,000 on it. Do we have a plan for for ever replacing that, or?
Not yet, we're working on it. This is, Solid Waste Committee's been working on this problem for a long time, and I'd like to think we're closer, but there's still bumps in the road on this one.
Yeah, I read that a local town is looking to get, I believe, something for their transfer station. It was like $800,000, and we're not saving for that.
No, so the town is lucky enough, if that's the sense, that we are close enough to the incinerator that we haul with a smaller vehicle. It costs us a lot less money to maintain and to buy. And at least for the foreseeable future, we'll continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, no, that's okay. I'll give more time from now on. All those in favor, raise your green cards. And all those opposed, red. All right, the article carries. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $440,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new motor road grader and the withdrawal of $400,000 from the capital reserve account created for this purpose. The balance, $40,000, to be raised by taxes. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? All right, thank you, John. And a second from Frank Tupper. Okay. Scott Doherty will also speak to this one.
So with respect to the current road grader, it is at the end of its life. It's 22 years old, and we can no longer get parts for it. We actually thought at one point, a few months ago, the grader was broken permanently. And Evan, if you would just stand for me. Evan helped me work this out. Evan would not take no for an answer, so he took it upon himself to scour, I think, the country, wasn't it, Evan? And come up with the part necessary to fix it and keep it running. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to say a special thank you to Evan. Well done. So getting back to the grader itself, a working road grader is an essential piece of equipment, especially for those of us who live on dirt roads. Thanks to our capital reserve savings, we have $400,000 saved, and the additional $40,000 will be raised through taxes. We expect a 20 to 25-year life from our new grader.
Any questions or comments? Come to the mic.
Lori Lockwood, 132. Because this is an outright purchase, are we starting to replace that capital reserve account money right away, or are we again having a few gap years?
We probably will have a few gap years.
But we're expecting probably another 20 years out of this.
20 to 25 years out of this.
Thank you.
She asked what I was going to.
Excellent following of the procedure. Come on up to the mic if you've got a question or comment.
Is there a trade-in value for the old one?
Could you state your name?
Jacob Mason. Are we trading in the old one or scrapping it? Or
John was working on that way.
If the old one is running at the time, he'll look at it and give us a number.
Evan, it's on you.
Sean McDonald, I just have a question. Did we demo this grader for CAT?
No,
Have we tried it?
No, we have not.
Just from experience, I just want to make sure this is a bigger purchase or buying a grader that I've heard from the past that the cast don't road very well, so I just want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with that, since that's what you mostly do is driving around town, so.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we will take a vote. All those in favor, raise the green side of your cards. All those opposed, red. Article carries. Article 14. Just 11 to go. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,323,453 for general municipal operations. This article does not include appropriations contained in special or individual articles addressed separately. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen, and I need a motion to get that on the floor. Thank you, Emily. And a second?
Second, Kelly Short.
Thank you, Kelly. And Scott will address this one as well.
So this one will be a little bit longer. I'm going to give you an overview of the town's current financial situation, and then we'll look at last year's budget results, and finally look at the 2024 budget. I'd ask that you hold your questions until the end of this presentation. So let's talk first about the town's overall financial condition. I'm happy to tell you that the town's finances are strong. We have a healthy unreserved fund balance of $1,716,656. The amount of this fund balance is within the range suggested by the state's Department of Revenue Administration, DRA. We also have a healthy capital reserve savings of $1,459,000 we are not overburdened by debt. We retired the Sam Lake House bond in 2022 and the municipal building bond in 2023. The Gold Star bond retires in 2025. The fire truck bond voted on last year's town meeting will not begin paying until 2025. Our long-term debt payments were exceptionally low, 0.7% of the operating expense last year. So regarding last year's budget results, we underspent our 2023 budget by $33,041, despite several large unexpected bills for equipment repair. Unfilled positions were a factor in the 2023 budget results as well. Our wage lines for the police department were well under budget due to an unfilled vacancy. So we took the opportunity to use the money saved on wages to purchase a 2023 Ford Explorer police vehicle. The underspending of our 2023 budget and the small increase in our 2024 budget is directly due to the efforts of our town administrator, department heads, town employees, and many volunteers. The select board wishes to thank them all for their careful spending of the town's funds. The select board also wishes to thank the members of the budget committee who assisted us in preparing this year's budget. So let's turn our attention to the 2024 budget. As the 2024 budget was prepared, the select board was focused on the following objectives. We wanted to hold the line on increases despite inflation, attract and retain employees, and continue to deliver services to our town residents. We will continue to deal with the effects of inflation and wage growth in 2024. We will continue to be challenged filling vacant positions. Some notes from our proposed 2024 operating budget. Wages. All town employees were given a 4% raise for 2024. The Consumer Price Index rose by 3.4% in 2023. The Budget Committee also recommended a raise of $1,000 per year for the selectmen. The selectmen have not had a raise since 1979. Excuse me, have had one raise since 1979. The town's healthcare insurance costs rose by 15.6% this year. Our costs for workers' compensation and liability insurance have both increased. Propane, heating oil, gasoline, and diesel costs are all up. Petticoat Rescue has raised their fee by 9.3% to $166,204 for 2024. Of noting, the 2024 budget is a new part-time land use administrator position. This is a new position created to assist planning, zoning, the Historic District Commission, and the Conservation Commission. Building inspector wages, you may know, have increased. That is due to the increased number of hours that our part-time building inspector works. Last year, permit fees brought in more than we paid the building inspector in wages. The proposed backhoe lease adds a fraction to our operating budget. So the bottom line is the proposed 2024 operating budget carries a modest increase of 2.9%. We think this is an excellent outcome in the current world. In closing, the Select Board wants to make you aware of a significant increase coming in your December tax bill. With the passing of the Shaker Regional School District budget this past Tuesday, our school tax rate will increase from $10.91 to $14.56 per thousand for 2024-2025. According to estimates provided by the school district, the tax bill for a home valued at $400,000 will increase by an estimated $1,529.08. I would caution the final school tax rate will be set by DRA this fall. Why such a sharp increase? The school district underspent its budget in previous years, partly due to dozens of vacancies that they were unable to fill during the pandemic. The unspent funds were returned, in other words, not raised by taxation. These positions have now been filled. Canterbury also has had more students enrolled, which increases our portion of the tax debt. Canterbury also revalued 2 years ago and Belmont did not. This helped move the funding formula in Canterbury's favor for the last 2 years, but Belmont has now revalued and the increase has favored Belmont. Overall, the school budget increase is 5.36 from last year's budget. So as we move into 2024, the Select Board will be cognizant of this increased tax burden on all of us as we move forward in 2024. I'm going to not be nearly as smooth at this next part as the beginning because this is off the cuff. So we found out today, one of the things that the Select Board and the Town Administrator have been working on for some time now is high-speed broadband to all residents. So Comcast has been unsuccessful in 2 previous grant applications. We found out today that they were successful in the latest round of grants, and we have a commitment from Comcast that they will hook up all of Canterbury within the next 6 months. So that's really good. That's the end of my report. I'll entertain any questions now. Thank you.
I just got on Comcast about 2 weeks ago.
I have to get cable.
TV's were in there.
What I'm going to do is lay down. Anyway. Yes, so questions and comments, please come to the microphone.
There was a rumor about a year ago that they were going to
Jessica Treadway, Intervale Road. The Comcast going to everybody, currently they don't come to my house. So when they say every resident in Canterbury, does that include me now?
Yes, it does. Jessica, we believe the number is 256 residences. Yeah, so yeah, they've got everybody mapped out.
My name is George Rogers. I live on Old Schoolhouse Road. For clarification, you mentioned the school district budget and what that impact on the tax rate will be for December. What will the impact of your budget and these current warrant articles, just an increase in terms of dollar amounts for a $400,000 house in Canterbury? Or is that inclusive in the $1,500 amount that you gave?
No, it's not inclusive. That 1,500 is school tax alone.
So again, my question, what will your impact add to that?
Do you have an answer, Bob?
I have a comment on the school portion, but I did not calculate the 2.9% increase in the operating budget. But I can comment if you wish. So Bob Steenson, Hackleboro Road. While you guys sort the answer to Mr. Rogers' question, I spent the last 2 hours before this meeting trying to recreate the numbers that the school district came up with for that tax estimate, and I was unable to do so. So I wouldn't panic yet. The way I look at it, and I think Randy's here, and Michelle's probably here too, so correct me if I'm wrong, what's driving the school system situation is that the budget is up $1.5 million over last year. That's a function of the school district, both filling positions and the collective bargaining agreement in place. The school district is also positing a $2 million revenue deficit. This would be monies that were counted as revenue in prior years because they didn't spend it. Well, they're going to spend it this time because they have filled their open positions. So there's roughly $3.5 million difference in the cost of the schools. The town's portion, as Scott mentioned, there's an apportionment formula that splits the bill between Canterbury and Belmont. It switched slightly in Belmont's favor this year, mostly driven by the fact that we have more kids in the school system. So Canterbury this year will pay roughly 24% of the combined bill for the school system. We paid a little over 22% last year. So that increase itself isn't that monumental. The town of Canterbury is also going to get about $60,000 less dollars in state education grant aid this year. So I'm coming up with a $900,000 difference between this year and last year. So it's not good, but it's not $4 plus on the tax rate. I'm coming up with about $2.43. And as Scott mentioned, this final tax rate gets set in October by the Department of Revenue Administration once all the numbers for the year are in. So I'll now let you answer the previous question, but I just wanted to turn the panic meter down ever so slightly. To note that that is an early projection, and I mean, I would rather have the school district be more conservative than less, but I think that may have been an overly conservative estimate of everybody's increase.
Thanks, Bob.
Sir, to answer your previous question, the total tax impact for all of the warrant articles tonight would be $261.72.
In addition to the $1,824,000.
Correct. Yes.
Other questions and comments? All right. We'll take a vote now. All those in favor, raise your green cards. All those opposed, red cards. Article carries. Move on to Article 16. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $36,704 to pay principal, $35,000, and interest, $1,704 on the Gold Star bond. Said amount to be removed from the town's unassigned fund balance. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen, and I'll take a motion.
Ruth, Ellsworth. Second,
Yep.
Smith.
Thank you, Ruth. And I'll turn this over to Cheryl.
This is the same bond we've been paying since 2005. And it's a housekeeping. And it'll be paid off in 2025.
Any questions? Yes?
Patrice Rational Center Road. So if I remember correctly, the way we pay this bond off is by the lease payments that we get from, no.
No, we,
Right into the mic.
this comes from the unreserved fund balance. We entered in with the fishing game, City of Concord. We bought, Gold Star, and we sold Gold Star. We sold Gold Star
Oh, we sold it.
to Brookwood Farms.
Oh, okay.
And the money we got, we could not just pay off the money we borrowed for our portion.
So we've been using that money that we got from Brookford
Right.
to pay off the bond.
Yeah.
To pay off the bond because it was non-callable. Okay, so at the end of this whole thing, there won't be any more money in the reserves, so it's not like there's future income from that.
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? All right. All those in favor, raise your green cards. Those opposed, red card. Article carries. Won't it be nice to have that paid off? Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $33,000 for the purpose of preparing new cemetery lots at the Maple Grove Municipal Cemetery and to complete a lot line adjustment with a butter to add a parcel of land at the cemetery for future expansion. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? Dale Caswell, second. Thank you. Mr. Marcoux. And John Gogol, you're going to be addressing this?
Yeah, John Gogol, Hackleboro Road.
And I'm Jan Cody, Hackleboro, Hill Road, I'm sorry. Cemetery trustee.
So we speak on behalf of the cemetery trustees in support of warrant article 17. State statute requires that each town provide a cemetery for the interment of deceased persons within its boundaries. Maple Grove Cemetery, active since 1850, is nearing capacity with regard to its presently available spaces. The initial stage in the expansion was completed last year when we worked with local partners to have the wetlands identified and marked, a survey of the cemetery's boundary drawn, and a topographical map survey of the area completed. Those local partners, Webb Stout and Mark Stevens, continue to generously donate their professional services, and have additionally drawn a map of the proposed grave layout in the planned new section of Maple Grove Cemetery. If you didn't see the map, it is in the rear of the gym, so it will be there at the end of the meeting if you wish to see it. Hopefully you'll vote for this warrant article.
And we're in our final stages. We've already had a lot of work done, thanks to Webb and thanks to Mark Stevens. We still have a ways to go. We've had trees taken down. Now we have to go back and we have to have it stumped and we have to have it prepared for the rest of the graves. Like John said, we've reached our max at Maple Grove. We are prepared to put in 464 graves. Sounds like a lot, but we need it. State statute says so. So if trust us enough to give us this money tonight. We're gonna get started and have this ready. So 464 graves multiplied by $450. In case you didn't know, a grave site is $450 now for a 4x10. So we don't want to think about our demise, but you might have to sooner or later. So please vote for this. We really want to finish this up.
If I could just add one more thing. The final cost of this will probably be the $15,000 that was appropriated last year. The $33,000 that we're asking this year, as Jan said, is going to generate 464 graves at $450. That's $208,000 in today's dollars that will be generated for the town. So a $50,000 investment for a $200,000 return. I think is fairly fair.
Great. Thank you. And they'll be taking names in the back. Get in on this deal now.
Frank Tupper, Ayers Road. I wanted to see if what the cost is for cremation. Are you allowing people to put ashes in that cemetery at a less price than full body count?
Yes, we do, Frank. We charge $250, I think, for a 4x4 plot. That will hold up to probably 4 easily and more if we need to.
So this total amount that you're planning on includes cremation spots too?
Yes. We already have an area of the cemetery that we're using for cremains on the side of it. This will be a little bit different. These are going to be whole body plots, and we'll adjust them as we go forward. We're seeing a lot more cremains going in the cemetery.
And just one other observation. I think there are some 41 family cemeteries in this town. 40.
Well, we know of 32 official cemeteries, and then we have others that keep popping up. You are allowed by state law to be buried on your own.
They have to bury them deeper. They will pop up.
It's the permafrost.
But I think that the family cemeteries are helping in some ways by being able to take living family members in.
Yes.
That's just
After they're done living.
We know what you're doing, Frank.
Police investigating this?
I knew I shouldn't come up with that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? There's green cards. We're so good at this. Those opposed? Red cards. The article carries. Article 18. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purchase and installation of a ductless AC and heating unit at the Canterbury Historical Society Archives Storage Room in the Elkins Public Library. Majority vote required and recommended by the selectmen. And I need a motion. Judy Nelson, and a second.
Emily Burke.
Thank you. And Sam Paps will be speaking to this, or deferring to Ron Ruth.
Ron Ruth here on Ledge Hill Road. I never talked in front of as many people before, so I passed on. I apologize.
Well, just talk to me.
Okay. Bob Scarponi was the president of the Historical Society until this year, and I took over for him. So that's why I'm speaking to this. The archives of the Historical Society were moved from the Sam Lake House basement to the back of the Elkins Public Library in 2008. And it had a climate control system, so it was humidity control and climate control, so our archives wouldn't deteriorate. In 2017, the air conditioner started to fail, and it was looked at several times and no one could figure out how to repair it. In 2023, we had another technician look at it. He told us it was drawing too much current, and if we tried to use it, we might end up burning down the library and the Historical Society archive. So we decided not to run it. So, yeah, I know. So it's going to cost just about $10,000 to put a mini split in the back part of the library to control the humidity and the temperature for our archive. And our archive has things like town documents, records of the poorhouse, scrapbooks of a lot of organizations in town, collections of photographs and diaries. All of the Luther Cody glass negatives are in there, newspaper clippings, and I can go on and on. Sam gave me quite the list, but all of this stuff is starting to deteriorate, and our archivist, who happens to be Sam, pointed it out and told us we have to do something about it or it's not going to be around for much longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor, raise your green cards. All those opposed, red. Article carries. If you need a place to cool off in the summer, nah. The library is pretty cool. All right, Article 19. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of $10,000 for the purpose of negotiating a contract to upgrade the town website. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. I need someone to, yes, Felipe. All right, and a second. Beth McMahon. And let's see. Ken, you're going to address this?
So we've had some questions in the past town meetings and some concerns about the website. It's a fairly basic website that we established several years ago. We put out an RFP for a replacement for this, and we had 4 companies respond, and we feel that the cost would be in the range around $10,000. I'm not going to try and get into all the technical issues with our website right now. If you have some questions that go towards that, Kathleen is here in case we need the technical help on that. But this $10,000 would get us a new website.
All right, questions and comments?
Are there people here, Frank Tupper, been on there for, are there people here in town that could provide that service?
Yes, there's, we did have a proposal for one of the companies in town.
Great.
Other questions, comments?
Patrice Rocha, Center Road. So this $10,000 would be for the hardware and the programming of the website?
Not the hardware, this would just be for the hosting of the website.
Okay, is there someone to update it once it's changed?
Any of the information would be put in by the town employees and planning board secretary and so on.
And we have a dedicated employee to do that, or?
No, at this time, myself and Kathleen are the ones that enter, as well as the secretaries of the various boards and committees have the ability to enter information.
My observation on the town website is, first of all, it has a search function, but beyond that, I find it not the most timely of websites in terms of updating. So I think equally important as how it looks and operates is actually what's on it. So that's just my request. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Mindy Beltramo on Hackleboro Road, and I was wondering if maybe Cal could speak to some of the deficiencies that she sees with it. And I know she's been instrumental in kind of working around with it and as part of her new duties and so forth and incorporating things. So I don't know, Cal, not to put her on the spot, but maybe you would be able to share a little bit more about the technical challenges that you're finding and what you're looking for in a new site.
Absolutely. Honestly, this is the kind of topic that is hard for me to stop talking about. So currently our website is created by Civic Plus with their proprietary website builder. And it is a very, very restrictive system where we don't have access to the hosting, we don't have access to the code. We aren't able to change anything really except for text. And even then, there are a few places where I haven't been able to edit the text. So we have all sorts of bugs, and some of them have been brought to me by people in this room who have noticed that, the subscribe button doesn't work, the calendar is not updated. I think my name is listed twice on the admin page, and I just can't get it to not do that. And the current support that we get from Civic Plus is inadequate. Because they're using a special software, it's really them, they have to fix these bugs, and they just don't, and they won't, and they never will. So that's why I have been proposing that we kind of start from scratch, which is what this warrant article is for. And I've got lots of technical details here, but I'll wait unless somebody else has other questions about the minutia.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? I'm seeing thumbs up. That's a good sign.
So Cal, can Cal please talk to the community calendar aspect, and is that included in the website as well?
Yes, so the $10,000 is going to be kind of an a la carte deal where the vendor will implement the most important features that we have determined that we want. So, basic infrastructure, basic pages, but also the calendar is something that we have put as one of our main priorities. So this is something a lot of people have given me feedback about, saying, they want to be able to know when things are happening in town and know not just town meetings like, Board of Selectmen meetings, planning board meetings, but also other community happenings, things that you might see listed in the town email or the town newsletter. So yes, this does include a calendar. This is going to include the subscribe button working. This is going to include, I have the RFP right here with the list of things. The main thing I focused on in the RFP was trying to make sure that they understood that they need to give us full ownership of the code and full ownership of the website. That way we don't run into this problem again where we're unable to fix it. So I think that answers the question.
Thank you.
Kevin Bragg, Baptist Road, not Baptist Hill Road.
But no slight intended.
It's confusing, especially if you're at Amazon Drive. So I think maybe I said a little bit last year about this subject, so I felt like I should thank the board for taking it up. I think it's very important when we're talking about community involvement that we try all aspects to involve folks, and I'm happy to hear that we will have control of it, and it's not proprietary as the current one, because it's horrible. To that, I hope that there are folks in the office that are able to keep it up to date. I'm assuming, I know we've got a great start, but it should be that everybody can use it, because as a member of a town board, we know it's important to get that information out. When it's not out, to Patrice's subject topic, when it doesn't get out there easily, then people give up and don't go looking for it, and then they're here or somewhere complaining they didn't know about it, didn't understand it, or whatnot. So I think it's the way we need to move.
I would ask, is it going to be possible to have digital interaction on it? I mean, could you possibly, maybe not in this iteration, but will we have digital records of applications for planning board, historic district, zoning board applications? Will you be able to possibly pay your taxes or your dog tag fees? Those kinds of things, because when I look around other communities, I do see that, and I think that's where it gets even more community oriented. And people go to it more often to see things like the event calendars and whatnot, because they find it useful.
So I believe there's a couple things on there right now that are interactive, like motor vehicle registration and looking at the assessment data. I did have it in here to have the documents be more comprehensive, so we could put applications up there. But I did not have it to do some of those things, so I would absolutely like to talk to you and put that on the list of things to do.
And for the record, I speak in favor of this.
Thank you.
Ruth Smith's Southwest Road, and it sounds like you have a lot of things kind of figured out already, but following the great lead of Canterbury Shaker Village, who is asking for input on their executive director, I wonder if you thought about asking for input, like a survey or something from the town in terms of what we would want the website to do?
Yeah, I absolutely do want to get feedback from every single person who has an opinion, because we all have to use it, and so it has to be usable for everybody in this room and everybody in town who's not in this room. And so yes, I will absolutely be looking for feedback. I'll put out a survey, I'll make sure that it's out in all the normal places, and give it lots of time. I don't think we've mentioned the timeline for this yet, but if this gets approved, then we will be picking out one of the vendors in the next week or two, and then hopefully starting work in April. And then if all goes well, the new website will be out in the fall. So probably timeline for surveys will be April and May.
All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, green cards. Those opposed, red card. And article passes. As long as the survey isn't on the town website. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purchase of a steam cleaner and to withdraw the funds from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve account created for this purpose. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? Steam cleaner fans? Do I have a second? John? And Kent will be speaking to this one.
So currently the highway department has a steam cleaner, but it's broken and it cannot be fixed. What is a steam cleaner? Highway uses an industrial steam cleaner to clean the highway vehicles, equipment, and to thaw out culverts if they get frozen in the winter, and that's the big one. You gotta be able to keep these culverts open so we have water flowing, we don't get ice dams falling behind them. This is not a little cleaner used to clean iron. Ron, you want to add anything?
Sounds great, put it to the
All right. Questions or comments?
Emily Preston from Southwest Road. Is this a cleaner used to help control the movement of invasives by the highway equipment? You know, they pick up stuff as they're working and then can deposit things like
Japanese knotweed as they go. Is that one of the purposes for this equipment, skin cleaner?
I would say no. This is to clean the highway vehicles off the salt and sand, those type of things.
So it's not used to try to clean off equipment that might be picking up. Japanese knotweed is the one I think of the most. You've seen that moving along the roadsides, and it's often equipment that's carrying it and dumping it in new places. This doesn't do that?
No. Does it?
Could it?
If there's leaves and stuff on it, it'll wash it off, sure, but it's not the intent. It's more to clean the grease and oil off as we need repairs, and like I said, springtime, thaw out the culverts that freeze up. It's a standalone unit, and it'll pull from a 55-gallon drum, so we can use it most anywhere. Oh, yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Those in favor, just raise your green card. Those opposed, red. Article carries. Article 21. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,500 for the purchase of a folder inserter for the town clerk tax collector's office. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? Ron? And a second. Rachel. Sam Pabst is going to address this one.
The town clerk tax collector's office is one of the main billing agents for the town. We collect taxes and registration and fees and dog licenses, among other things. Use of the United States Postal Service for sending physical mailed tax bills is still mandated by RSA 7611. And all the notices have proven useful in compliance with laws and getting everything taken care of for residents. Average, we're sending out 3,100 tax bills a year. We're sending out 1,600 motor vehicle renewals. We're sending out 800 dog licenses. Looking at 5,500 pieces annually. It's important to stress that if this passes, this machine is not just for the town clerk tax collector's office, it's actually for the whole town, for all boards, offices, and committees. They can all benefit from this machine, including zoning board, the planning board, and the historic district commission, who all sends out notices for hearings, as well as other town boards and committees. We've been using a machine for the last couple of years from a neighboring town, but obviously using such a large number of pieces annually, it's a big ask to ask them to keep on borrowing their machine. So it's a large favor to ask them to continue, and so that's why we're bringing this up this year.
Thank you, Sam. Questions or comments? All right. All those in favor? And those opposed? Article carries. Wasn't sure, Cliff, for a second if you were going to get up and make a comment. All right. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,000 for the purpose of replacement and repairs to the town gazebo handrail. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? Okay, and Kathy Doherty, second. Kent?
So this is a building that a number of us in town worked on 40 years ago, apparently. And the handrail actually turns out to be very important because it keeps those posts from twisting. And a lot of them are starting to rot on the bottom of the connections. And we also see coming up the next year or two replacing the roof. So we'd like to get the building stabilized on the bottom before we tackle that next part. We're going to use wood because somebody wanted wood. We do have one bid already on this, and we're hoping to get another one, so we will continue to look for bids.
Okay, questions, comments?
Everybody dreads seeing somebody step up with Mark Hawkins, Foster Road. I've been fixing those railings for years, and so I'm not going to say don't fix them because I'm tired of it. So please vote yes. But I'd like to just make a couple comments. Of course, it should be wood. You have the Historic District Commission to set an example for all the other applicants. And even though the town could get away with gleaming plastic, it's not really setting a very good example. There's two things I'd like to throw into that bid paperwork. One, I'm hoping that the railings are made the same way as the ones that I put on Sam Lake to drain the water so that they don't rot. And the second thing is, whoever wins the bid should be required to take the several dozen extra pre-painted balusters out of my barn.
Dave Emerson, Shaker Road. That does not include the bench seating, I assume.
No.
No, that is not under consideration. I mean, it would be more useful if the benches were more possible to sit on. That's just my suggestion.
So will we still have bench seating? Okay. Okay. They're sent. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. All those in favor? Green cards. Any opposed? Red. Article carries. We are on the last page. Article 23. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,000 for the purchase and installation of gutters for the meeting house. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion? Yes. Thank you, Kelly. A second? Thank you. And Kent will also talk about this one.
So your selectmen are trying to do a little better on keeping up on maintenance, and this is one of those issues that we've seen but ignored for a little while. So we're going to try and get this fixed this year. We're going to put gutters around the two sides of the meeting house and make sure we know where the water's going to go, which includes putting some drainage in various places. And then if you look closely at the
meeting house. The siding on several spots on the bottom is degraded to the point where it's lost its surface. It's a hardy plank finish on it. It's a good siding, but it doesn't stand up to water drainage on it. So we'd like to fix that this year, and that's what we're doing with this money.
Okay, questions or comments? I know it's exciting. Well, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Article carries, which takes us to the last one. Article 24, to see if the town will authorize the selectmen to accept up to $15,000 from the forced distribution of funds from the Sam Lake Trust Fund. The exact dollar amount is to be determined by the trustees of the Sam Lake Trust Fund and distributed to the town by the end of the calendar year. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Kelly Short.
Thank you, Kelly. Second, Judy Nelson. And Ken will address this one.
So the Sam Lake Trust, in his will, he left, he established a trust and he left the property up at where the town office is now in the town. A few years ago, actually back in 2015, some tax laws changed and required a forced distribution from the interest earned on his trust. In order to take that distribution, the town selectmen have to send a letter to the Citizens Bank, who are the trustees of the trust fund, and ask for that money, and it can only be used for the property at the Sam Lake House. This year, the Department of Revenue Administration felt that in order to accept this money, we have to have a warrant article every year going forward to do this. We don't know the exact amount. It's based on the market value of the trust. In the past year, the highest amount we received was just over $13,000. So we figured we'd start with a $15,000, and that would cover us for that. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, comments or questions?
Bob Scott Pony, Cuff Pond Road.
Right into the mic, Bob.
Oh, sorry. Cuff Pond Road, Bob Scott Pony, or Bob Scott Pony, Cuff Pond Road. Anyway, I'm confused. Can the money from State Lake House be used on the gazebo?
No.
On the State Lake Trust?
The cap reserve account was established in 2011, and the language says for improvements under the RSA of 35:1 for the improvements of the Sam Lake House, and then it goes on to appropriate the sum of $25,000 municipal funding, and to further name the selectmen as agents to expend. So it's only for the property of the Sam Lake House.
Thank you.
Was that any of the buildings on that property?
Alexandria, do you know, Barbara, can this be used for that dilapidated looking garage?
Yeah. Yes, it can.
Okay, just wanted.
My question is, if you have to take an amount, this sounds like it's an IRA where, you're over 70 and you have to take the money. A, why do we have to vote on it? And B, can that money be put into a capital reserve fund for when improvements for, say, the roof on the Sam Lake House eventually fails, or,
Yes, and that's what we have. The money does go into the capital reserve account. It has been going into there since 2015, and that is the purpose of that, is for any unexpected costs or renovations. We used a portion of that when we rebuilt the town office back in 2017.
Another question. This may or may not be appropriate. How much land does the Sam Lake property actually entail? Does that include the fire pond and where the solar panels are now situated?
Yeah, the plot that was left in the will was 7 acres, so it does include parts of that area.
Other questions and comments? Mr. Rogers is approaching.
George Rogers, Schoolhouse Road. This is just a question. What happens if the amount's over 15,000? By the wording of this warrant article, does that mean that you can't accept it, or can the warrant article be amended to say whatever it is?
Yeah, again, we've looked at what we received over the past, since 2015, and I don't know if we received, if the forced distribution was over $15,000, then it would be retained by the trust. The problem is, the way the tax laws are, there would be a penalty that would have to be paid by the trust to the IRS. And that's what we're trying to take care of.
Meaning if it's more than $15,000 is a penalty?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mindy Beltramo on Huckleberry Road. So I just wanted to go back to the shack garage bit. So, and just to let the record show, you had stated that it could be used, could being the keyword, on the shack garage bit. We've had conversations here before where that garage was supposed to be utilized for the town fair as well. So I'm just curious, are we to a point where you can put that money into the shack garage to shore it up so that that space can be used for the town fair equipment and so forth, and to have it not be in such a state of disrepair?
I think the Sam Lake House Committee, when it was formed for the renovation of and the rebuild of the town office, part of that committee's report was the future of that garage should be used for secure storage of long-term storage of long-term files. The problem is we only have so much space in the town office for file storage, and there are certain documents that are required to be still maintained in paper form. So at some point, we're going to run out of space in the file room, and that was what the committee felt. So that was where they felt the money should go into the capital reserve fund. And it would also fund if there's any needed major repairs for the Sam Lake town office. The selectmen are engaged to expend on this money. I would guess the way things work is that if there were any major construction projects done on the property, that it would most likely come from the town meeting and determine what that money is used for.
Other questions and comments? All right. All those in favor? And any opposed? Article carries. That is the bulk of our business. We can now bring up any new business that people would like to discuss. Subject to it not involving spending money. So, Beth Gwynn.
Thanks, Jim. I'm Beth Gwynn from Southwest Road, and I'm here tonight representing the Community Power Committee for Canterbury. And I want to say thank you very much for your support last year at town meeting. Those of you who want to be, almost all, are now on community power. And being on community power has saved Canterbury residents $105,000 over 8 months. And there's more coming in 2024. So we're pretty excited about that, even though I can't be on community power yet, and several of you cannot be on community power yet because you have solar and you are net metered. And I want you to know that in the back, there are 2 forms to pick up if you are a net metered customer. One is from the Community Power Coalition about the current state of where the negotiations are with PUC and what hearings are happening. And the other is a 1-sheet update that Howie Moffett prepared to get you right up to date. So please go back and take those. There should be enough for everybody who's a net metered customer. We, as the committee, asked the select board to set the rate. There are 4 rates given by the Community Power Coalition. We have chosen and asked the select board to choose the lowest rate. That gives us the required amount of renewable energy and not a bit more. You all, we all, except for net metered customers, have the opportunity to opt up to more renewable energy. And right now, if you opt up to 50% renewable energy, your rates will still be lower than Unitil rates. So it is not a whole lot more expensive. And if you have chosen community power because you believe and you want to be part of the answer to these crazy weather events that we're having, and you want to do something good for the climate, consider opting up. And if you would like to do that, I have a telephone number for you. Get your pencils ready. Write it right on that town report. It's 1-866-603-POWR. If you call them from 9 to 5, any weekday, with your bill, with the account number on it, you can opt up for more renewable energy. You can even go up to 100%. And I'm looking forward to the time when I can do that and be 100% solar and renewable, but we're working on that. And just as a little bit of incentive, it appeared in today's paper in a tiny little piece, but the city of Concord has voted to accept community power, and they have not chosen the lowest rate. They chose the 33% renewable rate, which is also available to you. So I encourage you to take a look at the website. If you Google Community Power Canterbury or Community Power New Hampshire, you will see those rates, and there is a way to get opted up. That way, if we're to make that phone call. Yes, I can do the number again. I should have been one of those TV people and radio people.
Standing by.
866, yes, there are operators standing by starting Monday at 9. 1-866-603-POWR. And don't forget, if you're a net metered customer, go pick up your pieces of paper. We are working on this. There's, I think, probably 75% or more of the committee is net metered, and we don't even get to use community power. So thanks for your support.
All right.
Ruth Smith, and there was a request that Rudy the Carrot come up and speak to you, but I don't believe that the moderator had given permission to Rudy to speak, so I'm going to speak on behalf of the Farmers Market Board and invite people the back corner. There's wonderful goodies that are still available for people, and We hope to see you all at the farmers market this summer, every Wednesday starting in June. And I see a lot of familiar faces that we see all the time and a lot of people that we haven't seen there. So if you haven't come to the farmers market, please join us. It's a wonderful event. We have live music every week and great vendors, local vendors with food and crafts and goodies and yummy things. And there's some examples of that. It's not fresh produce, but there's good stuff back there. We also have Mary Ellen's Basket, where we collect funds and donations that we give out to local folks in need. So you can learn more about that. And it's a membership organization, and the membership money helps support the farmers market. Oh, thank you. And the funds, the bills that we have to pay, including insurance and things like that. So you can check that out. And speaking of surveys, which I mentioned earlier, the farmers market also has a survey. And there are some, I think, on your seats. If you didn't get a chance to get one of those, there's more on the back table. We'd love to know how the farmers market can serve you all better. So come check us out, and we'd love to see you. Thanks.
Sorry to drag this out. I'm Kelly Short from the Conservation Commission. I just wanted to draw your attention to the Conservation Commission report in the annual report. This past year, Ken and Eileen Stern made a very generous contribution of an land conservation project. They've protected about 500 acres of land in Canterbury with help from the town and the Forest Society. And they very specifically want this land to be open for non-motorized recreation. So I encourage you, not during mud season, but when it dries out, to get out. You can read about the property in here, and it's also on the Forest Society's website. We will be having a town event to celebrate this in the spring. I hope to have an announcement of the date in the next 2 newsletters, and we'll send out an email as well. So I hope folks will turn out to thank the Sterns for this wonderful contribution to the town.
Any other announcements?
My name is Claudia Leininger, and I'm a member of the Canterbury Energy Committee, and we are sponsoring Window Dressers, which is a Maine nonprofit to come to town. And we are hoping that people will take advantage of these beautiful interior window inserts that we will make here in town, much like a quilting party or a barn raising. And there's going to be hopefully some money available if people can't afford all their windows, but we're asking people, everyone who orders windows, to participate in making them. And it's really quite fun. And they're expected to last quite a while. They will save you money, they will cut down on drafts, and they'll save you money, which you're going to need if you're paying the tax bills. So we have some information back there. We have a meeting coming up April 4th in the center at the town hall with a representative from this really good nonprofit. We hope to see a lot of people there. Thank you.
Any other announcements before we adjourn? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Marcoux. Okay, Ron. All in favor?